seen pastors who lost their ministries, not because they were involved in a scandal, but because they became bitter. They never denied the faith, but God stopped using them the way he was using them because they couldn't deal with pain. Listen, ministry is a vocation of vulnerability. If you are a shepherd, you should understand that you have to be vulnerable to the church members. You have to be open to the church members and frank with the church members. And you see, the work of a pastor is not easy, because you see, in my corporate world, I don't connect to the people emotionally. It is a transactional relationship. But when it comes to the church, I need to connect to the people. I need to love them. And sometimes pastor will have to leave his bed, leave his wife, leave his children, either to pray with you, or if you are admitted at the hospital, to come and help you. We counsel people whose marriage is at the brink of collapse. We support people behind the scene. But let me tell you the truth. Sometimes when something happens to the pastor then realizes that he is all alone. And you see, we fail to admit it because pastor will not admit to you that sometimes he is also in pain. There's a pastor I know. This was a man who was there for his church members, praying, anointing them. When somebody has a problem, he is there with them. Then he had stroke. And the pastor opens up and talks to you, tells you that everybody has abandoned him. I understand why sometimes certain pastors preserve their lives first, because ministry can be a lonely road. So pastors have become lone rangers. I've seen in ministry there are pastors who don't have any friends, because the first people, some of the people who hurt you the most are your colleagues in ministry. You may see them as friends, but they see you as competition. Sometimes by the time you come home, and from the chair to the pulpit, you have to shake yourself of every discouragement, because pastor has studied the whole night only to come to church and 2 or 3 gathered. That is when you know that your message, you prepared a message for a whole church, but now there are only 2 people sitting there watching you. And let me tell you the truth, it is dangerous if you're a pastor and you preach from this place of hurt, because you see, hurt people will hurt people. When you become bitter, what happens is that you see through the lenses of offenses. Because when we are offended, we recruit other people. When something happens to the pastor, it is only his wife and the family that are there for him. Friends will not care. The same people you poured into them will not be there. Who will stand with you among your friends? If something should happen to you, who will be with you? When you see people withdraw, sometimes it's because they have been hurt. And you know the thing about withdrawal is that sometimes we cut you off from our heart before we cut you off physically. So the things I used to do, I won't do it again. The things I used to give to you, I won't give it to you again. The way I used to push, I won't push it again. Do you know why? Because I'm hurt. And you see, what we do, we build walls around ourselves. And the ministry culture has been made in such a way that we have to build walls around ourselves. And sometimes we build the walls with the pain, and we become prisoners behind those walls. So when you feel betrayed, and let me tell you the truth, you see, the thing about betrayal is that it's an issue of trust. Because you see, when it comes to relating with your enemy, the psychology of relating with your enemy is that because you know they are your enemies, you don't let your guard down when you're around them. Because I know you don't like me, so when I'm around you, I'll be very careful. But imagine that to you, I see you as a friend, and I see you as a brother. Naturally, I will be open to you, and I will let my guard and my defenses down. So if you hurt me, the wound can be very deep. Now, David was not writing as a warrior king. He was writing, at this point, he was a broken man. He says, for it was not an enemy that reproached me. Then I could have borne it. Do you know why you could have borne it? Because when it's an enemy, you don't have a lot of expectations when it comes to them. Because you know that the person hates you. Neither was it he that hated me. David did magnify himself against me. David would have withdrawn myself from him. He says, it was thou, a man, my equal. It was you, my ministry brother. It was you, my wife. It was you, my husband. It was you, my friend, my best friend, the one I share my secret with. It was you, the one I loved. We were vulnerable to each other. We told each other's secrets. You were my mentor, my spiritual father, my guide. So offenses, hurt can come from your colleagues. It can come from those above you and those below you. And it says my acquaintance. So it was not a distant person. It was somebody he knew. Somebody he had opened up to, and he had become vulnerable to. We took sweet counsel together. We shared our secrets. So how can the pastor is preaching with my issue? And we walked into the house of God in company. Let me tell you the truth. The worst hurt can come from people in the church. As a pastor, if you don't learn to go to God, God will let you know that you are coming to me and I'm your father, you are my son, and you are my daughter. So go to God in prayer. Acknowledge that you are hurt before God. You pour all out your heart to God without any censorship. When you are with God, you are not a man of God. You are his son. Heal yourself to the point where you don't care the people. Instead of good water, pouring from a place of goodness, you are pouring from the place of pain. And it shows even in your messages. So a pastor comes to church and you see that his line of messages is because he's hurt. I told someone that, touch wood, if I ever have any issues with my wife, I will have to take a leave from the pulpit for some time. Because if I don't take care, I'll preach, I'll start, you see, I'll be throwing javelins at her in the church. The most dangerous person is not the one who is in pain. The most dangerous person is not the one who is offended. But the most dangerous person is the one who is offended and doesn't know, or is offended and is trying to deny it, or smile through the offense.